With all our advancements and everything we are able to do through DNA evidence, camera footage, and artificial intelligence, there are still so many unknowns that we have not been able to unravel. Personally, I think all of these little inquiries make life worth living and as interesting as it can be. With today's list, we're going to crack open some of these conundrums that still have people scratching their heads. Hello, most amazing Top 10 family. I am your host, Jay Dorena, and for today's list, we're going to be counting down the top 10 scary, true, unsolved mysteries from America. As always, guys, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, stick around for the whole list because I am going to be doing some more pet shoutouts that you guys love so much. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. Without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in at number 10 is the lost colony of ROANOK. You want to talk about ghosting? It's one thing to have someone you've been seeing to stop messaging you back for whatever reason, but imagine your whole town just disappearing. I mean, that would give you some major abandonment issues. The year was 1585, and Governor John White was going to travel from what would now be North Carolina to England so he could get some more supplies for his people. A very noble journey, but you gotta leave everyone behind, such as the life of a sailor. Well, Mr. White made the trip, and when he got back, everything was gone. Like, the settlement was still there, but the people had all vanished. The strange thing was that there was no sign of invasion or mass murder. It was like the whole colony just got up and left. The only thing left behind was a piece of paper with the word Croton written on it. This leaves a lot to be discovered. Coming in at number 9, we have Brandon Swanson. Back in 2008, the story of a missing man was about to shake a community to its core. It was in Minnesota, and Brandon was driving home from a party. It was thought that he may have been drinking, but whether or not he was actually under the influence is still unknown. He lost control of his car on his way home and crashed into a ditch. Now, he didn't have a lot of options, so he called his parents. He told them where he was, and they went out to go pick him up. They got to the spot where he claimed that he had crashed his car, but Brandon and the car were nowhere to be found. This was all happening while they were on the phone with him, and then out of nowhere, the call cut out, and that was it. A search team was sent out that eventually found the car that was over 20 miles away from the location where he said he had crashed, but even though they found the car, Brandon was never found. Coming in at number 8, we have Where is Jimmy Hoffa? Jimmy Hoffa was a force back in the late 1950s and early 1960s. He made a major push for union workers' rights. He was fighting against massive companies to ensure people in the workforce had better protected wages, work schedules, and benefits. But even though this guy sounds like he was one of the nicest dudes in town, he didn't do all of this squeaky clean. There was a ton of suspicion that Hoffa was deeply involved in organized crime and racking up massive amounts of illegal money. Eventually, the feds came snooping around, and Hoffa was picked up for jury tampering, bribery, and mail fraud. He was sent to prison in 1967 and was supposed to serve 13 years, but he cut a deal, stepped down as president of the union, and was a free man in 1971. Obviously, when you're involved in organized crime and then you cut a deal with the cops, you can agitate some people. And in 1975, Hoffa went missing. It's thought that the mob may have had something to do with his disappearance, but to this day, it's still unknown if he's dead, and if he was killed, where his body is. There was a rumor floating around that it's underneath Giant Stadium. Coming in at number 7, we have Oak Island. There has been a long-standing mystery about Oak Island. Apparently, there's a massive money pit somewhere on the island. There's even an entire show on the Discovery Channel that has been dedicated to finding this treasure, a show that has been running for 7 seasons. I mean, come on, how long does it take you to find a treasure on a little island? They are really milking that one, if you ask me. Now, some people say that the whole thing is just a hoax, just a tale made up by 2 kids who went to the island and wanted to tell something to the town so they could get them all worked up. But other people swear that this treasure is real, and they dedicate huge chunks of their lives to finding it. Coming at number 6, we have There's Something Wrong with the Water. Back in 2013, a very disturbing discovery was made at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. People at the hotel were complaining that the water had a moldy taste and was coming out a funny color. Someone went up to inspect the water tank, and they found something that probably had a horde of people asking for their money back. There was a body floating around in the tanker. It was later unveiled that it was the body of Elisa Lam. Now, this is where the mystery starts. There was footage of Elisa acting very strange in the hotel, like someone was following her. However, she had a history of bipolar disorder, so this might explain her strange behavior. But no one has been able to find out how she got to the roof of the hotel, got into the tank, and then closed the lid. Coming in at number 5, we have dead black birds. Nothing like 5,000 dead black birds to have everyone feel like the end of the world is right around the corner. I mean, I get why people were spooked by this. Just just listen to this story. This is back in 2010. It was New Year's Eve in the town of Beebe, Arkansas. And out of nowhere, 5,000 birds flew into the side of a building, killing themselves. Now, people started to freak out, but the most logical reasoning was that this ominous bird suicide was caused by fireworks. But the next year, the same thing happened, even though fireworks were outlawed in the town. If it makes you feel any better, it was only 200 birds this time. The reasoning for this has never been discovered, which has led people to think that this is a sign of dark times. Coming in at number 4, we have Amelia Earhart. I mean, everyone knows about this mystery, but if for whatever reason you have never heard about this tale, let me fill you in. Amelia Earhart was one of the greatest pilots of her time. She was setting world records in aviation, and she was easily one of the most famous people in America. Flight was something new, and the people who could master it were seen as incredible. She shocked the world as she became the first woman to do a solo trip across the Atlantic Ocean. She wanted to shock the world once again by flying around the world, and this was in 1937. This was more than a test of skill, this was a test of endurance. Well, something went terribly wrong somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, and her signal was lost. Since then, no one has been able to get to the bottom of what happened to her. There's a chance that she flew into some storm clouds, and her plane was badly damaged and she crashed. But this may be something we never get to the bottom of. Coming in at number 3, we have the Isabella Gardner Museum heist. Now, it's never okay to steal, but you got to admit, this next story is super cool. Back in the 1990s, 2 men pulled off the biggest art heist in history. They went to the Isabella Gardner Museum in Boston, which houses some of the rarest, most expensive art of all time. So you probably think these guys came in like Mission Impossible, came down from the ceiling, used lasers to cut through glass. No, that's not what happened at all. They dressed up as cops. They walked into the museum at night, told the security that they were real cops. The security believed them. They then gathered all the security into one area, pulled guns on them, handcuffed and gagged them, and then the 2 cops went around cutting out paintings and took off with $500 million worth of art. Are you serious? This is absolutely insane. And to this day, no one knows who did it. There are some suspicions that some famous mobsters or Hollywood bigwigs could have something to do with it, but no one can say for sure. In fact, the museum still has a $10 million award out for the return of any of these paintings. Coming in at number 2, we have Area 51. This place was the biggest thing in the news this time last year. Remember before the coronavirus, when it was totally okay to make an event that was supposed to have a grouping of millions of people? Those were simpler times. But the reason that this supposed raid on Area 51 was supposed to happen is because we all have no idea what the hell is going on in there. Everyone suspects that there has to be something in there to do with aliens. There was a whole documentary with Bob Lazar who claims that he used to work at Area 51 and that they are working on tech that can manipulate gravity. This gravity reactor, as Bob calls it, can be a propulsion system for ships that allows them to move faster than science supposedly allows. All of this is insane, but we have no idea if any of these tales are real because they won't let us go in there and snoop around. Just let us have a peek, man. I want to see some aliens. And coming in at number 1, we have Who Shot JFK? I know what the history books have to say, but a lot of people will not accept that Lee Harvey Oswald was the only shooter on that day, or that he was just some deranged man who wanted to kill the president for some unknown reason. A lot of people think there was a second shooter on that day. There's even footage that shows Kennedy getting hit from 2 different angles. How could that happen if there was only one person shooting at him? Some people think that the mob was involved because JFK was cracking down on organized crime. Other people say that it was all the CIA. And to only throw fuel on the fire, Oswald was shot and killed before he could stand trial. It was Jack Rudy who killed him, and he said it was all his idea to assassinate the assassin. But there's so much murky mystery around this, and it is the president getting assassinated. So of course it's going to bring up a lot of questions. All right, everyone, that is our list. And as promised, I'm going to be getting into some pet shoutouts. Remember, everyone at home, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. I pick new pets every day. So if you don't get picked one day, you can message back another day. If it takes me a little while to get back to you, I am very sorry. You can message me again and again and again and again if you want, but I have a lot of these to do. So it might take me some time to get back to you. But without taking any longer, let's shout out some pets. To kick things off, we have the leopard gecko Lorik. This dude looks super cool. I like his little home in there. Next up, we have a cat that I didn't get the name of. So as tradition here on Most Amazing Top 10, I'm going to name this cat myself. This cat is named Sink Cat, the king of bathroom sinks. After that, we have a team of 7 doggos, and I didn't get the name of any of them, so here we go. We got Poof, Todd, Suplima, Shabloonie, 5X-11, Peel, Zormoff the Conqueror, and Daryl. Then we got a cool bird that I didn't get the name of, so I'm just gonna name him Steve with a PH. And to close it out, we have a close-up shot of Nina. All right, everyone, that is all we have for you today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I have been your host, Chaderena, and keep checking out all this content. Love it, guys. Bye.